Hey guys, hopefully, well, okay, so first of all, if you're watching this in replay, I'm Christina with leadsandleverage.com, and I've been saying go here, hover over the video and go here and click on live subscribe, but it's actually over here. I realize that. I've been telling people to go the wrong space. So up here, if you're hovering over the video, there is an ability for you to click on live subscribe or something like that, so you can be notified when the live events are. So anyway, I wanted to start this off. I'm going to give it a minute or two for more people to come. I know a lot of people are looking at coming today. It's a Saturday morning. We're maybe, well, yeah, it's 9 o'clock for me. I don't know what time it is for, everybody else, but I mean, I don't know what part of the country you're in. Duh. Anyway, so 3 things that you probably don't know about blogging. And I actually have my little note card here. I am working on a blogging course for real estate agents, obviously. And yeah, Kay's like, hard to figure out where to go. You might add to your invite where exactly to go. I don't know exactly where to go, Kay. It's when I pop it on live, it's on the feed. So in the thing, it says, it's right on our Facebook page. And so when it pops up, that's where they go. I mean, that's all I know at this point. I know Facebook's probably going to fine tune this and have a place where you can drive people to, but it doesn't, you have to be on our page. And then when it pops up as a live event, I mean, as a live stream, then you can click join. So I'm not exactly sure beyond that what to tell people. So if you could share your experience, Kay, maybe that will help me too, because I think that's about all it is. That's all I've been doing when I go to other people's live subscribes. So, so might put the link to the specific Facebook page. You have more than one, so we can hover there. Oh, well, the event was posted from this page, from the Leads and Leverage page. So it's hosted by Leads and Leverage. So I will put that in there. I didn't even think about that because it's hosted by the page. So I'll do that. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. 3 things you probably don't know about blogging. Just wanted to talk about them. And the first one's kind of a big one. A lot of times I'm getting a lot of questions from agents because I've been asking you guys what your questions are about blogging and what your struggles are and things like that. And I got a lot. I got well over 100 responses from you guys so far. They keep trickling in. And about 35% of those responses in the first place were all about how to get started. But then the rest were, and because of those 35%, I'm creating a free mini blogging course for you guys on how to get started. But the rest of the questions, the other 2/3, were a smattering of a whole bunch of different things and things that, like people were asking, how many words should my post be? Should it be short or long? What should I do with my, all these things, different things. I'm trying to look at, I can pull the questions up on my computer here. What to talk about, how to be interesting. How do I get people to read my blog? And, one of the big ones is, how long should my posts be? That was a big frequency and length. I don't like sitting down writing. Let's see. They're not really interested. When I come across random blogs, I might read 1 or 2 posts, but I don't keep reading them. So why would anybody want to read all these kinds of things? So there's a couple of things I wanted you guys to know about blogging. First of all, a lot of times, in fact, most of the time that agents feel like they need to blog, it's because they feel like they need to have a website, and they feel like that the way to get people to your website is to make sure you have keyword-rich blog posts on your page. You've probably heard of hyperlocal, and you've probably heard of making sure you have keywords in the right place and that you're consistent and you're always adding new content, so Google will really like what you have to say. Or will like your website, not necessarily what you have to say, but so that Google will like your website and so that they'll rank you. So here's the problem. All of what I just said, that's wrong. I mean, it's not wrong. It's just the wrong thing. So it's not about, blogging is not about SEO. And oh my gosh, I know I'm going to get huge amounts. I've got articles coming out for Inman that are just going to get people all riled up. It's not about SEO. I have been blogging since 1995. And yes, I've been blogging since 1995. We put ourselves on the web, and I was blogging before there were blogging platforms. And I've always, I mean, for years, I went with SEO because it was easy. And then it got harder and harder and harder. And then we have had all of these different algorithm changes. But when I didn't chase SEO at all, and I did what I'm going to tell you instead, when I didn't chase it at all, it changed everything. I always ranked on the first page, multiple times, always. And here's the big thing. I didn't just get leads. I got people who already knew me, liked me, and trusted me. And guess what? When they contacted me, I didn't have to fight for their loyalty. I didn't have to convert them with cold calls. I didn't have to send them 5 bajillion, following calls or knocking on their doors. I didn't have to do that to convince them to work with me. They were already convinced. I had already built a relationship with them because I was teaching them and giving them information. So it's not about SEO. It's about the conversation. It's about what you're teaching, what you're sharing, how you're connecting with them. And so if you're just doing blog posts and you're like, well, I have to have 500 words because Google wants me to rank 500 words. So I'm going to talk about the polar bear plunge, and I'm going to make sure I make it last 500. And I'm going to make sure that it's keywords Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is 50 billion times in that 500 word post. Then I'm going to make sure homes for sale is 550 times in that 500 word post. I know the math doesn't work there. However, you get my point. We kind of focus on too much stuff. And here's the problem. Google knows this. They know that we're trying to play these games instead of actually provide value and content. And Facebook, I told you guys before that Facebook is all about the end user. They want to keep the end user involved in Facebook, connected inside Facebook. So everything they do is focused around that, which is why you have to pay to play to get your page stuff out there, unless you're actually providing value. If you're providing value that the end user likes, same with Google, exactly the same with Google. If you're providing value that the end user likes, it's going to work. It's going to happen. And you're going to be impervious to all of the different SEO changes, the algorithm changes and things like that. So, you could talk about backlinks, and you could talk about guest blogging, and you could talk about all these different things. There's strategies to each one, but really you don't need to focus on them until you are consistently having a conversation with your ideal clients on your page. And I don't mean like literal back and forth. That's awesome. But I mean, you know what their needs are. So you're talking about their needs in each of the posts that you write or video or whatever you're doing. So it's not about SEO. It's about the conversation that you're having with the person. And you're going to notice a theme in all 3 of these that I'm talking about. So I talked a little bit about the length and stuff. It's not about the specific length. It's not. I mean, if you're going to share something, you're going to teach somebody about something, or you're going to inform or enlighten somebody about something, really, you can't do it clearly enough in 250 words or even 500 words. What you need to be thinking about is how many words does it take. You don't even need to think about this. What you need to be doing, the wrong way. You need to be just educating. So remember, who you're speaking with is not in your industry. They do not understand the majority of the terms that we use. If you're talking to people who are for sale by owners, most of them don't understand when you say FSBO. So you need to think lay. So when you're speaking or writing to them, you need to use the full words and explain what they mean. So if you're explaining absorption rates, you first need to say, absorption rate. And this is what absorption rates are. But do it conversationally. I was talking with a friend the other day, and I started spouting off, whatever it was. Share that as a piece of you and a piece of your knowledge, and share the conversation that you had and how you explained to someone else what absorption rate was and what it means for their property. But you need to go deeper. We just put these definitions out there. Speak like a human. We don't just blunt definitions when we talk to people. We give examples For example, this is what it is. Looks like this, sounds like that, feels like this. We give tangible stuff so people can understand the term that we're using, and then we relate it to something. If we're really good with conversation, what does that mean? What does it mean for us? You know, why is absorption rate important or not? What's a good absorption rate? What's a bad absorption rate? What does that mean for the value of my property? What does that mean for me just selling my house? So the point is that it's not about the specific length of the article or whatever you're writing or even the video. It is about the value of what you're sharing. How long does it take to thoroughly educate somebody on that one subject? How many words does it take? That's where it is. It's not about the specific length, it's about the details. And it really, if you want to get technical, people say, oh, people don't read these short 500 or 750 word articles. I mean, that's all they read. They don't read the longer stuff. I mean, if you really want to know the stats on it, the articles, this is web wide. This is Google that shared this stat. Excuse me. This is Google that shared this stat. But web wide, the articles that get the most shares and comments and engagement are over 2,500 words. They're 2,500 to 5,000 words. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is to let you know that don't get caught up that the shorter the better. Don't get caught up on that, but also don't get caught up in that, oh my gosh, every single thing I write or do has to be 2,500 words. Don't. Share it. Use as many words as you need to use to explain, to thoroughly educate, to inform. And what you're going to find out is you're going to have to do it again. So what I'm teaching here, I've taught before, but I've said it different ways, and people relate and resonate in different ways to different terminology, to different examples. So that's two. So it's not about the SEO, it's about the conversation. It's not about the specific length. It's about what's needed to share and fully inform. And here's the thing, guys. One of the biggest things was, oh, I hate writing. I don't want to sit down and do this. I don't want to do whatever. And you know, you have a lot of options, but it's not about writing articles. It's about talking. Again, it's about conversation, but it's talking. So if you are sitting down and writing, talk to them. Don't write. Get away from your English standard AP journalistic, whatever you did in college crap. Get away from it. We do not speak like that. This is why some stuff is so incredibly boring, and why you can always spot an AP article over anything. There's bullying. I can't stand to read the newspaper because it's so droll. It's dull. I want to hear inflection in what I read. I want to see the author's personality. I want to react. So people want to react and they can't. They will not absorb. So if you think, why would people read my stuff? Well, if you're in it and you're actually talking to them. So if you've read any of my articles on Inman and stuff, I actually just talk. I'm thinking in my head, having this conversation, go, well, da 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 da, and this da da da, and I write. I totally ignore AP standards. Totally. I even ignore grammatical stuff. I ignore, because when we speak, we have broken sentences. We don't completely coherently share thoughts, as you're experiencing right now in this. We don't completely share our thoughts. We interject things. We do whatever. Have a real conversation with them. And if you don't physically like to write, so if you are writing, make sure it sounds like you. So it's literally you having a conversation. But if you don't like to write, we have these great things now called smartphones that have a recorder app on them. So record your stinking thoughts, record your conversation. Somebody asks you a question, boom, da 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 da. Somebody asks, so, you know, you're recording on your phone. Somebody asked me a question, and this is the answer, and da 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 da, and then submit it to get it transcribed. It's like $1 a minute on speechpad.com to get it transcribed, and then edit it and put it out. Or even better, do video. Do video, guys, and don't worry about what you look like. Don't worry about whether you're perfect. Clearly I don't. I mean, yesterday I was hot from the light, and I don't care. I don't care, because if I was standing in front of somebody, this is what it would look like. This is how I would feel. I care more that people get to know me, and I care more about attracting people that I would enjoy working with. That's what I care more about than how perfect it is, or how just a perfect, you know, just get in front of people. So you can do any of those. You can do audio, you can do video, you can do written, any one of those. But the point is to have a conversation, talk to people, talk to them. You can also take some of these, like I'm doing these live stream videos. I'm taking these and I'm submitting them to get transcribed, because I'm going to take these answers and turn them into blog articles, other places. So this is, I mean, so easy. You can keep repurposing what you have, so you're not repeating the stuff. So it's really, the goal here is I don't want you to miss the forest for the trees. You get so hung up in SEO, or you get so hung up in hyper local that there's no context to what you're putting on there. So you share about the polar bear plunge. Who cares? Great. Everywhere else is sharing about the polar bear plunge too. But how is that in context? Well, what neighborhood is it in? Are there homes around there that people would like to live in? Would they like to experience the energy of what happens down there every year and live there? Or is it, or are there a type of people that do that? And where do they tend to live? Where things like that. Make some context, put some things into context for people and help them, because your real estate, you are not a chamber site. You are not an activities calendar site. So if you're going to do hyper local, make it hyper contextual. But like I said, talk, don't write like an encyclopedia, droll and boring. Hi, Cheris. Be engaged with the person. Think about the person. And, yeah, that's pretty much, I think I pretty much went over all of the three points. I need a drink of water now. Do you guys have any questions? I know several people on here. Do you guys have any questions? It's Saturday morning. Hopefully everybody's awake. It's only about 9:20 in the morning, Pacific time. So I'm on the, of course, Hawaii's, what, 2 hours behind us, so early for Hawaii. But the rest of the country should be awake. It's Saturday. Most of you are probably, or I hope, most of you are probably getting ready to do open houses this afternoon, or go out and show property, take listings. But that's a good one, Michelle. Michelle's asking, do you always use photos with your blog posts? Yes, you do. You want to make sure that you have a photo in there. Now, there's all of these statistics, stats, in one word. There's all these statistics that talk about the type of photo to use and where you put it, because it helps people receive the information better, like trust you more. And so, yes, you always use a photo, because when you go to share your blog post on Facebook, Facebook pulls in the photo. So you want to make sure there's something that's kind of relevant to the context of the article itself. So like I said, the polar bear plunge example that I was using, take a picture or even from the beach that it's at or whatever it is, and take a picture and then talk about the article. But one thing you need to know, if you're going to have it, if you're going to share your stuff on Facebook, your picture needs to be sized to 1200 by 628. So 1200 wide by 628 pixels tall. 1200 wide by 628 pixels tall. So that's going to go in your blog article itself. And that will help, because you do want images in your posts as you're sharing them to Facebook. And you want images because people like broken up by images and stuff. There's all kinds of things you can do when you write it. After you've talked it or written it or whatever, you want to do short paragraphs, make it easy to read. One of the things that I really focus on, skimmability. I know people are not going to read everything I write, so I want to skim. I want to make it so that they can skim it. And then if they go, oh wait, I need to go back. That was interesting. I want to read that. They can. It's easy. I do not think people are going to read all the words. I don't think there is a book on the planet that I have read every single word, because I tend to read stuff and then skim and then, oh, that was important, I need to go back. So that's how I read, because I like to read. I'm a pretty fast reader. And I know there's speed readers that do other things, but the point is that I know that people aren't going to read it all. So I want to make it easy for them to get what they need to get out of it. For them. So yeah, pictures, make it readable, short paragraphs, even a single sentence can be a paragraph. I do that all the time because I have different pauses throughout, etc. All that kind of stuff. And you just want to, the key is to make it sound like you. And that's easy to do if you're just talking to somebody. So you just talk to somebody and that's what you do. So I'm always having the conversation in my head as I'm typing. And I have found that I prefer to type out my conversations rather than speak them out and have somebody transcribe my conversations, because I put my inflections in my writing. Whereas the editing, when I have it transcribed, it's just there, and then I have to go back through and rethink the whole thing. But that way is a lot, speaking and then having it transcribed and editing is a lot easier for a lot of people. So you need to find what works best for you and what's easiest. If you're constantly out, you're crazy busy, and you're constantly out showing property or taking listings and stuff, then do the transcribe as you're driving, answer questions on your recorder and submit it for transcription. Do that. Do whatever will fit in, because the goal with blogging, the number one goal with blogging is not page rank. I know that is going to be against what everybody says. I don't care. I've been doing it for 21 years, and our business, all of our different businesses that we've done with it, proves it. For us anyway, it's not about page rank. Page rank is an absolutely awesome benefit that you're going to get, but the number one benefit, that the reason that you do blogging, is to create a trust relationship before they have ever contacted you. So they are already loyal to you before they're in your lead funnel. They're in your database so you don't have to convert them after the fact. That's the point. It's easy. They already know, like, and trust you, and you don't have to worry about conversion later. So you're not fighting every single other real estate agent. You're not fighting Zillow, because they're listening to you. They know you. They know, oh yeah, she said 50 times that Zillow's inaccurate. And so I know that my home value isn't right. What is it? I'll believe her or him, whoever it is, because they've been listening to you and your character's consistent in all your article writing and things like that. So it's about being the expert, but it's about building a relationship, not push information, but helping. So don't just think listings. Don't just think data. Think, what are some problems that I can solve, and what are different ways that I can solve them, and what are different ways that they're asked, and how can I do that? So it is about converting before the capture. That's what blogging is for. It's huge. When you figure that part out, number one, you've got an awesome lead funnel, and you don't have to worry about conversion. You have to do some nurturing, but you don't have to do conversion after the fact. And two, it's insanely scalable. You can scale this. You can scale it like crazy. So, I know there's other people saying, get them in. And I want you to capture every lead possible, but it is easier to nurture people who already like you than it is people who don't. It's just the way it is. Any other questions, guys? I know that was a really long answer to the whole use photos with your blog posts. Any other questions? I was see some of the other questions that I got from you guys. Yeah, somebody says, I have no listings and I'm in the process of trying to attain them. I just don't know what information to provide in a blog. That was one. And now it's not a question that's asked on here, but it was a question that was emailed to me. So, it's not about your listings. Like I just said, it's about the problems that you can solve for people. Kay says, what do you mean by scalable? You mean adding help if you want it bigger? By scalable, I mean that a lot of the tactics that we try for lead generation, like messaging every single page like that we get, or that I do not advocate that. There are people that do that. Or messaging every single person who likes a post on your page, and I do not advocate that. Those are not scalable. And here's what I mean. If you get busy, you can't keep doing those. It's not scalable. So in other words, what happens is something that is not scalable cannot be continued when you can't continue doing it. So when you get crazy busy. So if you're consistent and you provide an answer to a problem every single week, no matter what, one, that's consistency. Two, that exact same thing that you're doing, you can use ads and scale it. You can reach more people with the same stuff, the same amount of time that you've been putting in, no more. And it gives you good results. Like messaging people, that's a different kind of results, and some people say they love it, but it's not, like I said, it's not scalable, because what happens if you start getting 100 likes a day? Everything. You can't do that and continue doing your business. However, if once a week you're always putting something valuable out on your blog, and you spend an hour and a half every single week just doing that, it doesn't matter how big it gets, it's still 1 hour and a half. It's no more. That's what I mean. And so, but you can keep pushing that out through ads to a bigger audience. So that's what I mean. And help is different, but that's what I meant. So hopefully that was clear, Kay. Duplicatable, scalable. If we're doing these one-off tactics, it's not. That's why we have the whole feast and famine. kind of real estate lifestyle is because we get busy, so we stop spending our time doing prospecting because that's typically free stuff, and so we don't have marketing continuing on consistently, so that come around December, January, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry because I haven't had any closings, and it dies. So the point is to keep it going. Kay says, I got a call in the middle of this, we'll be able to watch it again. Yes, it goes in replay, and then it stays on the page. I keep it there in perpetuity, well, however long Facebook will keep it there. It also goes on our Leads and Leverage page. It also automatically goes into the videos folder. So you have that. Awesome. You're welcome. Any other questions, you guys? Anybody else here? I know Charis is here. But if you guys have any other questions, you've got me just for a couple more minutes. Wanted to answer your questions. What'd you think about all that? Did I tell you something you didn't know? Did I tell you something contrary to what you've been taught? Anything. Hit me, guys. Well, comment. Don't actually hit me. I hit back. Michelle's like, thanks again. Always great. Thank you, Michelle. I like having you on. I have to look. I like talking to you guys, and in order to physically look at you, I have to look at the camera, but I can't see the comments when I'm looking at the camera. That's a trick I wanted to let you guys know about. A lot of times people do live stream, but they're looking at the video screen, and so they look at themselves. So you can tell I'm not looking at you, but when I'm looking at you, now you can because I'm looking at the camera or looking at comments. So make sure you look at the camera as much as possible, so that you kind of can have like this one-on-one relationship. I forgot to put my Skype offline. All right, so I'm gonna let this go into replay, finish this up. Make sure you've subscribed to live subscribe. I think it's over here this time, to live subscribe so that you can get more. And I'll see you guys later. Have a great Saturday, great afternoon. Ta-ta.